Hey everybody, welcome back to Legendary Language Learner. I'm Matthew Boyle and I'm here to make language learning magical for you. And in today's video, I want to share with you 3 tips for learning Mandarin Chinese. If you've been following this channel for long, you know that's my primary target language. I've been living in China for the past 10 years, and I've been learning Mandarin Chinese at my leisure for the past 10 years. So if you're interested to get into this language, or perhaps you're already a beginner of this language, I think you're really going to appreciate today's video. Before we start, I want to warmly welcome you to like and subscribe so you can be aware of when new videos are coming out. I tend to post a new video every Saturday these days. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to share with you 3 tips today, and what are those? We're going to talk about knowing your goal, we're going to talk about tones, and we're going to talk about typing Pinyin on your phone or on your computer. So first, knowing what is your goal. When I chat with people about learning Mandarin, I find it kind of hard to decide what means you are fluent or not with this language, or at least what defines knowing this language very well, perhaps to even an intermediate level. And the reason why I think it's hard is because Mandarin Chinese has many facets that you could potentially become interested in. Some people emphasize the writing of characters or even calligraphy. Some people emphasize reading. They want to be able to read Chinese poetry or novels or news. And some people, and I include myself in this group, emphasize conversational prowess because I want to be able to listen to people and talk to people on the streets and just survive my daily life and be able to take care of the usual typical errands. So I think it's maybe not a mistake, but maybe a little misguided at first to try to succeed in all of these areas from the beginning, or try to balance all of these different aspects and level them up simultaneously. I feel like that will kind of overwhelm you and spread your energy too thin. What I would recommend is you identify what is your goal. What are you really after? Writing, reading, speaking and listening, those may be kind of the 3 core areas I should think, speaking and listening being more together in one area. Find out what's your goal, what's your primary motivator, and stick to developing that as a core area of competence. And then, in the coming months or years, you will naturally branch out to the other areas and develop those too. Now, the second point is about tones, the dreaded tones. People who learn tonal languages talk about tones a lot because obviously they can be tricky and they can lead to miscommunications. When I was first starting out, and even now, I really regarded Mandarin Chinese as a hobby. I didn't want it to be a chore. I wanted to keep my motivation up no matter what. So if that's you, then I would follow the advice I gave myself back in the day, which is don't worry too much about tones. Just do whatever you can to get started. But knowing what I do now, I think I would have given myself different advice if I could go back in time. And I would put it like this. Whenever you learn a language, you have to memorize a lot of vocabulary, right? And people tend to make a lot of flashcards, for example, with Anki, or maybe a physical flashcard system like the Lightner box. You have to memorize vocabulary, right? It's part of the game. You have to learn new words. So what I would say is when you are doing that, memorize those tones along with those words. And it's that simple. And you might say, well, Matt, of course, I write the tones next to the words and I'm studying tones already. Well, I was de-emphasizing the tones when I was studying vocabulary back in the day. I just tried to remember the meanings of the words. I found memorizing the tones a little bit too hard. It was like an extra requirement for every single word. I felt like it was slowing me down. But now, when I'm practicing vocabulary and memorizing my flashcards, I just go ahead and put in that little bit of extra effort to memorize that tone along with the word. And if I don't know the tone when I'm testing my flashcards, then it's wrong. And It might be a little harder in the beginning to get into that habit, but you will be thanking yourself later because you won't have to go back and relearn or correct tones for even the most basic of words that you learned a long time ago. All right, and the third tip is about Pinyin. So Mandarin has a romanization system, so you can use the letters of the English alphabet to text words out, or to text the characters or type the characters into your phone or into your computer. Now this can actually be a lot of fun, and it can really help your progress. Back in the day, I used to use QQ when I first landed in China, so I would make friends there and then text them in Chinese. And sometimes they would text me a little bit of English too, which would help me to understand what we were talking about. And now I use WeChat. So two things here. I want to recommend that you download, have a social media platform that you can associate with Chinese people on, whether that be Facebook or WeChat or Twitter or whatever. I think through WeChat you're going to meet more Chinese people who probably know a little bit less English, and they will tend to use Chinese, and they may tend to be based in China. That could potentially be better for your Chinese. But really, any social media platform where you can chat with someone and use Chinese when you're chatting with them, get a platform like that, and then also download a system that will let you input Chinese characters on your phone or on your computer. And the reason why this really helps is, of course, number one, it allows you to chat with people, but also it's going to let you weave together several different skills. The first is you're going to learn how to spell quote-unquote Chinese characters. You will have to learn Pinyin to do this. And second, you're going to improve your character recognition through you inputting the characters and sending them, and also from the characters people send back to you. You're going to start to recognize more and more characters without needing to see Pinyin or English. I don't know if other programs do this, but WeChat has a built-in translator function, so you can touch the Chinese characters and then instantly translate them. So I do that, but only if I don't recognize the characters. So that can be really handy. And then last, obviously, this is really going to help you out because you're going to be associating people and chatting with people primarily about the typical daily life issues. This is awesome for beginners, and even when you get to an intermediate or an expert level stage, it's great for consolidating what you know. All right, that brings me to the end. If you have any questions about learning Mandarin Chinese, or if you want to drop in a tip of your own, do so in the comments section. I'm really looking forward to connecting with you there. All right, bye-bye for now.